My name is Prillaman. I'm a level 3 from Orlando, Florida. I am here to present the most meta of seminars you will probably hear all day. This seminar is on how to prepare and present a seminar. So, what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about reasons to present, how to decide on a topic, how to decide on how to present the topic. I know we're going deep. Okay, common problems and then some presentation tips and tricks. Okay, so first off, getting up here in front of people, it's not for everybody. Some people choose to do it, some people don't. So what are some reasons why someone might not want to present at a conference? Anyone?
Lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence. Can't project your voice. Compensation. What's that? Compensation. Okay?
They don't know the material.
They don't know the material. Okay, all of those are really good reasons. So lack of confidence is one that really, you just got to get in there and do it. Like, many of you have probably head judged GPT, and maybe the first time you did that you were kind of nervous. All right? But after you've done it a few times, you're not nervous anymore. Okay? So the best way to overcome that is just to get in there and do it. All right? You feel that you don't know the material well enough. That's another one. Okay? Fortunately, there's a whole host of topics out there that even if you don't know the material, you can know enough by the time it comes time to present. All right? Like, I'll throw out layers, for example. Okay? I might not be an expert on layers, but give me a month, I can study and I can become an expert on layers. So let's talk about why you are going to present. What are some reasons? Because we mentioned compensation being a reason not to present, or lack of compensation. Do get out of it, which you are confident. So reasons to present. Here.
Confidence building.
Confidence building.
Street cred.
Street cred. Yes. What's that? Increasing your reputation for advancement. Getting your name out there. Getting it increases your knowledge. Might be weak on. Yes?
Sharing your own experience.
Sharing your own experience and wanting to teach somebody. There's also a sense of obligation. It's like, oh, it's a conference. I have to present something.
The other side.
Okay. So, what's that?
That's how I got roped into doing national.
That's how you got roped into doing national. Hey, that's why I paid $200 for a flight to come up here this morning. All right, some advantages in presenting. We've gone over them. You get to learn a new skill. You get to overcome your fear of getting up here. I mean, it's all something that we have to do. Getting up in front of people and talking fear of public speaking is a legitimate fear. Okay, but the way you overcome that is not by sitting in the by getting up in front of people and making a fool out of yourself once or twice. One other thing that you get out of these conferences, out of these seminars when you present, is you meet other people. Okay? Out of the presentations that I've given in the past, every time judges have come up to me afterwards and they've talked about, hey, I've got this question, or hey, that was really good, or hey, here's some feedback on something you can do better. And you get exposed to judges that you hadn't met before. You get exposed to ideas that you hadn't maybe thought of. Alright, so we looked at some of the reasons why you might want to present. The next thing you want to decide, and I'm going to go over two things, and I'm going to present them linearly, however they kind of go hand in hand, like one influences the other. So I'm going to present one thing, and then we're going to talk about the next, but really they happen kind of concurrently. What you want? It is a dependency. Yes. Alright. The first thing you want to do is decide on what you want to present. Okay? So, in order to do that, you want to ask yourself a few questions. Okay, what am I interested in? What are you comfortable with? What do you feel like? What are you good at? is something. What are you comfortable with? What interests you? Now, I'm going to say, if the topic doesn't interest you, you're going to give a really bad presentation. If I'm up here talking about something that I really don't care about, then I'm not going to have the energy, I'm not going to put the work, I'm not going to put the effort into it to make it something good. Okay? Everyone's good at something. Okay, even Ben. Okay, everybody's good at something. Everybody's good at something. Okay? And if that something is something that you want to share with people, then it's something that you can present at. So I'm going to talk to you about how I decided to do this presentation right here. So last conference we had in Tallahassee in the summertime, we got a bunch of surveys which had on them, they looked really similar to these right here, almost identical. And one of the things was, what is something that you felt the presenter didn't do well? And looking over them constantly, one of the things I saw was didn't repeat the question. What? Don't read your slides. Don't read your slides was on there a lot. But one of the main ones is the crowd would ask a question, and the acoustics aren't very good, and the presenter would just answer the question. Okay, and the people over there would have no idea what was said. Number one thing, didn't repeat the question. And I was going over the results with our RC, Turner, and he made the comment, he's like, and I said, well actually, that was listed as a positive for you, that you did that. And he said, well yeah, duh, that's just presenting 101. Oh, got a topic for next conference. Alright, so when you're deciding what you want to talk about, you want to talk to the conference lead. You want to make sure that you're actually competing with other people signing up for topics that they want to give. So if you're giving a topic on, what's a good example? What's that? If you're giving a, I was going to do something that overlaps with it.
Everybody does layers, which is the trigger.
Well, we actually have 2 layers in this conference, so I kind of want to stay away from that one.
Steps to casting a spell.
What's that? I'm just saying, like two particular things that go. You want to do deck checks, and Gene wants to do deck checks. We can't have 2 people doing deck checks. They might work together, but we don't want to have 2 seminars on the same thing. So you want to have a talk with Mr. Zittimer, or whoever the conference head is, about what you're going to want to present. And you might need to iterate over the topic a little bit. Okay, so what I would like us to do is, what are some things that we can present on that are not on the agenda list up here? What's up? USC major. All right. What are some other topics?
Steps to casting a spell.
Steps to casting a spell.
Investigation.
Investigations, always investigations. Conduct, code of conduct. All right. Yes.
What happens when a judge makes a mistake?
Okay, mistakes.
And then I deliver the ruling.
All right. I was really hoping that you guys would name one that I'd prepare to go now. What's that? Okay, that would also go into the code of conduct. Yes.
The jar.
The jar. All right. So we're gonna talk about investigations a little bit. So let's say we're gonna give a presentation on investigations. That's what we want to talk about. All right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to understand who our audience is. Okay, and where they're coming from. Are we teaching a room full of level 3s, or is this a leadership conference? Are we expecting a lot of level 1s to be here? That kind of thing. So that's going to kind of tailor our message. The next thing we want to talk about is what our goal is. Okay, why are we giving this seminar? Okay, I understand that I want to give a seminar on investigation. What is my goal of this thing? What am I hoping that you would get out of a seminar on investigations? So any ideas?
Hopefully they're not doing an investigation.
Well, I mean more specifically than that. All right. What's that? Policies and procedures for doing so. Maybe the types of questions to ask things that might cause somebody to raise an eyebrow, okay? Various things that might alert you to a problem. Yes? Okay, how to calm down players that are flustered. Deviations or investigations? Okay, what do you mean?
Like if you're doing an investigation and you feel that this is the penalty, but you have to deviate from that penalty in some way.
Okay, all right, so, deviating from the infraction procedure guide. All right, yes?
Some examples. Move on to the next part of the seminar. Are there any questions about what?
Okay, yes, some examples, some stories.
So let's get to some.
How to fill out a DQ report. Yes, so once you've made the decision to pull the trigger,
Have the question.
what are you going to do? Those judges, we actually know. Kind of, in a general sense, you just go up and ask questions, and then you find the dirty cheater, and then you DQ them. And then the question is, well, now what? Okay, so a very good goal of an investigation seminar would be they walk away knowing the now what. Okay, or they walk up to a situation and they know what type of questions to ask. So those are two very good goals that would drive what you want to present. So, once you decide on what you're going to present, and what your goals are, what you want to teach, you're going to figure out what your structure is. Okay? Is it going to be a lecture? Is it going to be an interactive presentation? Are you going to have slides? Can you have slides? Is there going to be a projector? Is a question that you need to find out early because it shapes fundamentally what your options are. I can have all sorts of videos and stuff like that. I don't know if any of you have seen. Yes.
Size limitation. If you do a deck check, you don't want 30 people.
Right. Size limitations in case you want to have a smaller group. If you have an interaction. But first, I would say you want to figure out what the interaction is, and this kind of gets into the whole cyclical thing, where you would talk with the conference lead and say, hey, am I going to be able, if I want to have a small, focused session, which they have at some GPs, there's been a small group of 5 or 6 judges that have had like closed investigation seminars. Okay, those kind of things happen. Can we do that? Because that's going to shape. If I'm talking to a crowd of 40 people versus a crowd of 10 people, that's going to change how I'm going to present. Is there going to be group work? Is there going to be an activity of some sort? Okay, so with investigations, all right, so you can get up here and do a lecture, you can get up here and do some slides for investigations. Is there anything that we can do for like interactivity, for group work? Any suggestions on that? Like how might we structure a seminar on investigations?
Role-playing.
Role-playing. That seems to be a very popular thing. Role-playing. All right. Anything else? Actually, filling out a report. Yeah. Okay. So, a little bit of lecture, a little bit of structure, a little bit of role-playing, maybe bring up a sample report, filling out a report. Okay, so
a judge came up and said, I have an appeal. He stopped the police.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a point. We started a few minutes late because of Nick's announcements, but we're 20 minutes into this seminar, and studies have shown that when a presentation begins, people are paying attention. At the end of a seminar, at the end of a presentation, people are paying attention. In the middle of the seminar, tension kind of drops a little bit, right? So what's something we can do to re-engage people, get them more involved? Yes?
Stop to ask questions in the middle of your seminar.
Stopping to ask questions in the middle of the seminar. Find a way to involve them in some way. Hey, what's that? Make them get up and do jumping jacks? Sure. What's that? Everybody want to get up? No, I'm not going to make them. What's that I hear? Run around the store. That's a good one. Push-ups. Push-ups. Who can do the most push-ups? Nobody raises their hand. All right. I don't know raise their hand. Brian? No. You win. You win.
Can I get Francisco to do a more?
All right. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm we're going to have an activity. Okay, a little bit of group work. It's only going to be like a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of cordon off into groups of 6-ish, 7-ish, maybe like here, there in the middle. I'm going to give you guys one of the topics that we named, the group name. Okay, and I want you to just think about, very, very briefly, just how, we're not going to use the list, you can decide your own topic. We'll do that and make things a little bit faster. What is y'all's topic?
I think we decided on like public image / the code of conduct.
Public image / code of conduct, alright?
The goal, don't get decertified.
Okay, the goal of don't get decertified. Okay, and so how would you go about making sure that someone not gets decertified?
We didn't get that.
Okay, so acronyms, DBAD, okay? Don't be a D. Alright, so yes, so code of conduct is something pretty new. Everybody wants to know a little bit about it. So one of the things that you can do with code of conduct is just go over it. Also be prepared. That is going to be a topic where there's going to be a lot of questions. However many questions you think you're going to get, double it, because you're going to get a lot more. So a seminar that is geared towards instruction and allowing frequent questions, frequent interruptions is the best bet for that. All right.
Yeah, we had how to mentor someone going from L0 to L1. What we decided is
how to mentor somebody from going L0 to L1.
So, first, obviously, slides, we're going to decide what methods there are to mentor people, whether it be in a group session like the judge class, which is structured measurement, or if you're trying to work with someone who's isolated, you're doing like an internet thing, or a one-on-one personal group. Then you sit people down, have them role play, give them like a rule set that they need to go over, then give them the type of group that they're going to be working with, and let them come up with what is best possible, or what they think is the best option for mentoring.
Okay. So if I repeat everything that people say, I'm probably going to step all over. When I was going through over this in my head, I didn't realize I'd be shouting over people who are talking. So was everybody able to hear that? Okay, so this group.
How to properly identify a cheat, what to look for, the proper methods for identifying and reporting. The ultimate goal to be able to notice the behaviors of someone who is attempting to cheat. I was telling them I'm an actual hobbyist sleight of hand magician. I know what to look for, and to be able to teach people what to look for, how they do it, how to catch it, and how to properly report it, with the goal of letting them walk away with that knowledge.
So that actually, I was in Madrid for a GP about 3 years ago, and they had a seminar done by a magician on sleight of hand tricks. It was phenomenal. He'd get up there and he'd do the magic tricks, and you see the error and stuff like that. And there were particular plays and moves and stuff like that where he actually made 3 very, very quick errors. But when you dealing with drawing cards and stuff like that, but when you end up doing the count, you might see something wrong, but because he did 3 things incorrectly, if you caught any one of them, you'd be like, you should get down a card, or you drew an extra card. But when you sit there and count, everything came up right. So that was, you'd be like, we should be down or up, or I guess everything's fine. So that was a very, very interesting seminar. All right, back in the room.
Are we still in the interclair attack?
All right. Investigations at regular REL.
Anything else?
Keep going.
Okay, this would be more a matter of
Super relevant.
at regular REL we want to put more emphasis on social settings. So the role playing would involve stuff like here's someone knocking over a deck on accident, maybe someone got too excited, versus someone who's really angry at the game, and then you have someone with Tourette's and then someone who's actually angry. Just stuff like that. Just trying to also realize that when we do this with regular REL, we're also keeping in mind that social aspect, especially. Competitive REL, yes, sure, but certainly at regular REL.
So did I miss a group? Yes.
We also chose mentoring.
Which brings up another point.
All right.
We can close out the call. You want to ask something like, have you had any other warnings for, have you had any other warnings? Do you leave it at that? Because they'll say yes or no. Clear as that. If you say yes, how to make yourself available. Was it for a similar infraction? Hey, you're out there. You might have to upgrade that if it means to upgrade path, which is also identifying gameplay errors. It's going to be warning game loss, tournament errors, warning game loss. Be proactive and talk to them. So knowing if there's any other infractions, some slides presenting basically all those resources, as well as role-playing conversations any other infractions throughout the event. Questions from the audience about. Also, anything else? All right.
Also did some like your online appearance, but adding on to it, we were talking about some stuff such as including some examples of some things that may have caused some controversy as a talking as a judge online, or also just going over what to remember as you do.
Okay, so how self-representation within the judge program?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely a hot topic right now with the code of conduct coming out, and I'm sure in the L3 panel we're going to have lots of questions about that. So I should probably read it before okay, so it's only 10 pages. So let's talk code of conduct. All right. So I'm going to jump from investigation because everybody loves to hear about investigations. We're going to jump to the hot new thing or do the code of conduct. So once you've decided that you're going to talk about the code of conduct, okay, what you want to then do is research. Okay, the best way to research the code of conduct would be to read the code of conduct. Hey, if you're going to do layers, the best way to research layers is read about the layers. There are tons of resources out there. It's okay to steal from them. Okay, talk to Sean. If you were doing let's say if you're doing a layers episode, if you're doing a layers presentation, you might want to listen to an episode of JudgeCast or two. All right. If you're doing a seminar on the code of conduct policy, reading it, listening to JudgeCast when it comes out next week. Yeah, that's stuff. All right. So spoilers. So yeah, so you're going to want to do research, okay? You are going to want to research both the topic and the room. How are the acoustics? Are you going to have a projector? How big of an area are you going to need to talk to? Okay, the next thing after you can look at other presentations. Odds are you aren't the first person to give a seminar on this. In doing this, I went to go find out if there was someone that had given a seminar on how to give a seminar. I found one done by Kevin Benzwanger, where he actually did a presentation on slow play poorly, and then he did a presentation, the same presentation, better, and then had a discussion at the end as to what was different. That's not exactly what I wanted to talk about, or that's not exactly what I wanted to do, so I opted not to use it, but I talked to him about some of the stuff that he learned about it. You want to prepare your slides. If you use PowerPoint and there is going to be a presentation, you are going to want to put stuff on the slides. Slides have an advantage. The big advantage is you can turn around and read what the slide says, or rather, you don't want to read off the slide, but you don't get lost. You'd be like, next slide. Oh, that's what I'm talking about right now. Okay. Yes.
Players are allowed to consider as well, and they're allowed to ask you, can I miss the person that is using their PowerPoint?
Okay. Yes. So that's so if you do your PowerPoint presentation in open office and you get there and they have it they want to do it in Google Docs or Google Drive, that could potentially be a problem. Animations might not work. Okay. When we did the Jeopardy game in the conference, the last conference, I brought my laptop specifically because I knew that it worked on my laptop and I didn't have to deal with any of this stuff. Okay? So when you do your slides, okay, don't try to cram too much on one slide. Okay? If it's up there and it's really busy, people are just going to read like the first few words and they're not going to pay attention anymore. Be brief with what you've got on your slides. Get in and get out of the point. Okay? Use your words. Use your words. Use your words to expound upon the ideas. Okay? PowerPoint's supposed to be the bullet point. Use your words. You like that? Use large font. People in the back are going to have a hard time reading. Be neat. Don't put dancing babies and stuff all over the place. Don't make it crowded. And you can do dancing babies on your slides.
I did turtles.
Turtles. Don't do slow play. All right. Explosions.
Crap.
All right. If you are going to have other materials, like if you were doing a deck check seminar, what's some materials that you might need for a deck check seminar? Decks. Checklists. Don't show up at the conference and be like, all right, now it's time to put my decks together. Does anybody have a deck I can borrow? Okay, that doesn't work so good. Are you going to do a role play? If you are going to do a role play, who's going to do the role play and do they know their role? Okay, it's essentially a little acting gig. Know the story. Make sure the other actors who are supposed to know the story know the story. Don't just say, yeah, we can wing it, because then you're going to get into trouble.
Anyone else?
Proofread your slides. Nothing is more unprofessional than having a slide up there, and on the title slide, it is better to have somebody proofread for you. You get that little red line under there it helps. It's like, oh, I've got a word misspelled. I before E except after, I don't know, autocorrect will get me. If you're going to do something fancy, make sure it works. Oh, you got videos? Great. Test it. Okay, you don't want to find out. So a video is supposed to come up. Hang on while we figure. You don't want that to be the opportunity that you find something doesn't work. Here's another big one. You actually want to rehearse a little bit. Okay, before you get here, when you come up and speak in front of a crowd, this better not be the first time those words are coming out of your mouth. Okay? You want to make eye contact. I mean, right. The question is, you don't want this to be the first time that you said those words. You want to make eye contact. Okay, don't turn around and read from the slides and let everybody see your bald spot. No, you want to read, you want to make eye contact. And you don't want to make eye contact with the same person every time. You don't want to just sit there and stare longingly into CJ's eyes and ignoring the rest of all these lovely people. And then,
Turns out in round
you want to inject some humor.
that's right.
You want to inject some humor. Okay, nothing breaks the ice to keep people engaged more than humor. Body language. When you get up here and you rehearse, okay, sometimes you might sit there at the computer or you're in the car or something like that, but something that you want to pay attention to is body language. You want to move around a little bit, but you don't want to stalk back and forth, kind of hunched over like a caged tiger. I've seen some presentations like that. You don't want to just sit there and give your presentation with your arms crossed. This is very defensive body language. I'm angry at you, Nicholas.
Do the Sheldon. Do the Sheldon.
Do the Sheldon?
Apply to you?
Yes, Marcy.
But in our case, there's going to be an investigation.
Yeah. So if you have a body language where you constantly have to do this point thing, there's some presidents that have done this in the past, like every single word they want to emphasize, they take your credit card and they just plug it into the machine.
Don't talk down.
Don't talk down. Don't look at your clipboard for words. You should have all this stuff memorized. Yes.
Have a bottle of water?
Have a bottle of water. That's actually when we talk about the day of. When you're rehearsing, you can have the bottle of water, but you don't need to remember it. Thank you for reminding me that I'm parched, though.
That's not water.
Okay, one of the things that you also want to do is when you rehearse is you want to try and project your voice. Okay, I am not a naturally loud speaker. Okay, so one of the tips and tricks is if you try and speak more from your chest, your voice will go a little bit further. Okay, for some of us who are not used to yelling, like myself, this is a problem. Not for Billy Willie. Billy Willie can bellow with the best of them. He's not paying any attention right now. All right, another thing that rehearsing will let you do is time management. You need to be aware of the clock. How long does this thing take? If it takes 15 minutes, what are you going to do for the rest of the seminar? If it takes an hour and a half, but they're going to be coming and dragging you off. And you're still like, no, I still haven't gotten my best part. We got a role play, and it's going to be awesome, and I did all this prep work, and well, you would have liked it had you just got to see it. Okay, you can't cram everything in. Some stuff's gonna have to go. Make a decision. You're also going to want to allow for time for Q&A. So let's think about how long the seminar takes. It's from 1 o'clock, or sorry, this is from 2 to 3. We need to allow a little bit of time for people to move around, get to the next seminar. We need to allow a little bit of time for question and answer if I'm going to be that kind of... Pause for pictures. You want to decide whether or not your seminar is going to be one that's going to allow for question and answers, and you need to budget that time. Okay. Yes. So the another thing to consider is how you're going to allow for questions. Are you going to allow for questions in the middle of the seminar, or are you going to take them all at the end? Okay, this has been more of a free flow. You can just shout stuff up to me, you know, ideas and stuff like that. I'll take them, I'll roll with it. So there might be some questions at the end, but I'm not expecting a whole lot.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Depends on your topic. Which one's better was the question. Okay? So obviously it's going to depend on the style and flow of the presenter and the topic. So experiment. Hey, when you rehearse, it'll give you an idea of which one's better. Okay, and you're going to be changing some of this stuff as you go. Because when I was going over this, I was like, nope, I want to move this here, the flow's better. Yes. So if you get a question that's kind of weird and not on topic, you can try to answer it the best you can. Okay, don't be dismissive of it. And then move on to the next thing. It might be slightly awkward, but it's better than just embarrassing people. Yes?
Which side of the judge playmat do you fall on?
Which side of the judge playmat do I fall on? The underside. All right. So the day of your presentation, you want to make sure, well actually the night before, you want to make sure that you get a good night's sleep. Most judges are magic players, and most magic players are really bad at this. Alright, so make sure that you get a good night's sleep. Show up early. Okay? This will let you prepare if there are any problems. Like, they gotta move you, or you had slides and the projector didn't show up. Alright, it gives you time to adapt to problems. Be sure to drink plenty of water. Go to the bathroom. Because when you're up here and your body language is saying, I really gotta go. That's not too good, okay? So you wanna drink water, you wanna empty your bladder, you wanna drink some more water, and go after, hold it. You want to make sure that you have your materials prepped. So all of this stuff is going to help you get over stage fright. All right. So does anybody have any tips or tricks for getting rid of stage fright? Liquid courage. Liquid courage. Alcohol. Yes. What's up?
Actually, potassium is really good for stage fright, so bananas or potassium supplements?
Eat a banana or something high in potassium. Yes. What's up?
Know your material.
Knowing your material is a really good way to avoid stage fright. Okay? Practice. Practice also helps. I've been on autopilot the whole time. I didn't worry about you guys at all. What's up?
I was going to say, when you practice, make sure you practice in front of someone.
Make sure that you practice in front of somebody so that they can tell you. I didn't do that, but that's a really good idea. It's like my dog doesn't count. He just kind of cocks his head to the side and looks at me like, can I have a treat? Do I get a treat for listening to this? Yes, you get a treat.
So
Hey,
your dog is like
the same way though.
So your dog's like practicing in front of CJ?
I'm not gonna repeat that. So, other ways to get rid of stage fright. You can relax your body. It's been actually shown chewing gum helps get you in the mindset. Gets you in a relaxed mindset. Avoid anything that has caffeine in it. Soda, Red Bull, anything that gives you wings.
Don't chew gum when you're actually presenting.
No, don't chew gum when you're presenting. Spit it out beforehand. Something else, exercise. Right, Brian?
Yes.
Yes, exercise will help you get the endorphins going so that you can get up and give a good presentation.
Power pose.
Power posing.
There's Jeff.
Maybe the car wrecks before you get here.
laughing is a great way. Telling jokes, hanging out with your friends, laughing is a great way of relieving stress. All right, talk to the audience beforehand. Okay? All of a sudden, it's not just a bunch of strangers. It's friends out there that I'm just telling stories to, or I'm teaching, that kind of thing. All right. So that's at the seminar. Now at the end of the seminar, at the end, okay, after it's over, you know, talk to people about it. They're going to ask some questions, get feedback. This is probably, if you spend a lot of time, the survey forms. Talk to people, get some feedback, because if you spend a lot of time, spend a lot of energy, you're probably going to want to refine this and do it again. That's how you go from being a good seminar to a great seminar. Iterate, get feedback, improve. So, in closing, we went over motivations for presenting. We went over how to decide on a topic. We went over deciding on what structure you want, things that you can do to prepare, and then the actual giving of the seminar. Now, I did say that the last thing at the very, very end of any presentation, well, that you decide to do, is allow for questions and answers. Do we have any questions? Yes, Gene.
What about time? Say, talking without questions.
What's that?
How long should your presentation be without questions?
Well, so when you, it depends on how long you think the questions are going to be. So good time, we tell people that you want to start wrapping up the presentation part of your seminar about 10 minutes before the next one begins. Oh, and it's 2:49 right now. Meta humor, making you aware, pulling back looking at that fourth wall, breaking that fourth wall, pulling back the curtain. I'm mixing my metaphors. We're off script, I don't know what I'm doing. All right, so it's really how much time you think is necessary. I know that Ben's seminar, Ben McDowell's seminar on USC Major, like the whole thing was questions and ended up running over. Mr. Lopez's seminar for L2 ran over because it had a lot of material, like we didn't really allow a whole lot for questions. So that's one of the things that rehearsing will let you do, but you need to figure out how much time you're going to allow for and kind of stick to that schedule. All right, any other questions?